The economy really, if you look at this, I want to get Jonathan Williams. The economy has really never stopped since the Great Recession. We've always talked about it. It did quite well under President Trump. Now becomes the top issue again. We are in a recession out there. It may not be the deepest of some of those we've seen in the past. We'll talk about this right now. Jonathan Williams, our good friend, he is the chief economist. I like that. Hey, can I still say that word, chief? Anyway, the chief economist for American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC.org. Let me play for you this clip. Here's the spin. You ready for this, Jonathan? Here is.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Fox News, Peter Doocy. This is what the White House is saying. No. We had 0% inflation over the last month. Is there any positive sign in these numbers that came out this past week?
Well, I mean, the only positive sign is that for those of us that are out there driving, you're seeing a little bit of a break at the pump right now over the last month. But Steve makes a really important point that a lot of people, unfortunately, have not been able to afford saving for a vacation and other things that they would do during the summertime. And that's just a travesty for parents with families. And they have been spending so much on their grocery bills and that filling up at the gas station that now the demand is lower, and we're seeing, that is not a healthy sign whatsoever when it comes to, what is the July inflation number. Now, one other point, though, that's awfully obvious here, Ed, but I think, a lot of people forget this. It was pointed out, the level is still 8.5% above a year ago. So it's not just that it's zero for this month. We're still paying 8.5% more for everything in that basket of goods than a year ago. But, if the Biden administration really believes that we're at 0% inflation right now, you have to ask yourself, why are they so hell-bent on passing the Inflation Reduction Act this week in Congress if inflation is indeed all under control as they claim?
I want to play for you another clip. Here was Maria Bartiromo from the Fox Business Network. She said something just a couple weeks ago. I wanted to play it one more time. She thinks, we all thought that inflation numbers would come down because gasoline prices have dropped. Lumber has dropped. Some other areas have dropped. She thinks that overall it's still going to remain a 40-year high. Now, listen to what she says, because there's still a big amount of money of COVID that hasn't been spent yet. Here's the clip.
But the question becomes, how bad will things get? I see no evidence of inflation having peaked. And one issue is around the COVID-19 relief package, which was signed into law by President Biden back in March of 2021. At that time, inflation was at 1.4%. We're at 8.6%. Why should inflation get worse from here? Because much of that money in the COVID relief package has not even gone out yet. There are hundreds of billions of dollars that certain states received from the COVID package that has not been appropriated.
So that's kind of an interesting take, Jonathan. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there's tranches of money that's out there that states are, waiting to receive and then waiting to spend. And so that's a good point. I've made that a few times myself in working with state legislators, realizing that much of this from the ARPA package just over a year ago has not yet hit the economy. Now, there may be the expectation that it's out there, but I mean, it has not been circulating in the economy because it hasn't been spent by states yet. Now, I think also we have to keep in mind that, this package that's being talked about right now in Washington, D.C., could be voted on later this week, it looks like, in the House on this so-called Inflation Protection Act. Would add hundreds of billions of more spending to this situation, really pouring more fuel on the fire of inflation. So they might be patting themselves on the back right now for these July numbers. As Steve points out, it's not for good reasons why the July numbers are flat, but they are absolutely pouring more fuel on the fire with the additional hundreds of billions of federal spending.
Jonathan Williams is the chief economist for the American Legislative Exchange Council. The website, ALEC.org, ALEC.org.